Asia CEO is really a sought-after brand and recognition among the private sector.
I work abroad as an OFW, and I've seen the experience of how Filipino were treated that time. So I always thought of creating an event someday to really recognize Filipinos and also market Philippines.
Let's present Philippines in a positive light. And the goal is expand your business, start your business, move your business to Philippines, hire Filipinos. They're good people to work with, and you'll do well. That's the goal.
Way back when we were the poorer or sick country of Asia, and now if you take a look at, for example, the BPO industry, we're number one in the world. There's a lot of potential for the country, and if we are really going to see fruition that we are going to be one of the top economies by 2050, I think it is very important for us to really pull our resources together.
And we always believe from the beginning that this association was the right medium, the right structure, and the right outfit to really put the Philippine business community on top of the agenda for the Filipino people and also for the international community.
Well, it gives me a fantastic insight in terms of how broad the industries are and how many different types of successes that are contributing to the growth and inclusive growth of this nation.
We have to create a future where our next generation of talent and leaders is prepared for all of the new opportunities that will present themselves.
Asia CEO Forum is very unique because it is more than any other forum emphasizing that this is about nation building.
Economic growth is a very wide subject, and Asia CEO Forum always find the right angle with the right topic at the right time to talk about, and that's why there is such attraction to these events.
They connect people, but they also create a platform for transfer of best practices, best knowledge.
I believe in the vision of Richard and Rebecca. I think they have this vision to help make the Philippines a first world country in 2030.
And with our partnership together, I know that we're achieving a lot of things.
Thank you for what you're doing. We applaud your efforts. We're proud and happy to be your partners.
We encourage other companies to join in and be a sponsor, and I'm very, very sure that they'll find it worthwhile.
Be with us for Asia Logistics Forum 2021 and be part of the golden age of supply chain logistics. At no other time in our life will this be it.
Welcome to Asia Logistics Forum 2021 online edition. As the importance of emerging markets continues to increase, no longer is supply chain logistics a back office function. It is the golden age of supply chain logistics. E-commerce has become a part of everyone's life and there is no turning back. Asia Logistics Forum 2021 is presented by LBC Business Solutions with major sponsors Multisys, Regis. Please welcome Father William Bustamante, Parish Priest, Ina ng Laging Saklolo, Tagaytay City, to lead us with the invocation.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord Jesus, channel of all goodness, the way to all graces and blessings, we thank you for accompanying us always and for leading us through this new and challenging road in this time of pandemic. Lord, the recent times have really tested us, yet with your loving providence and never-failing care, we leveled up and moved forward. As one team, we implore you, Lord, to continue strengthening us inspiring us and uniting us towards achieving our goals. Impart to us your wisdom in all our plans and decisions. Remove all barriers which prevent us from reaching our goals. Allow the spirit of cooperation and concern to guide us in our undertakings. May we always bring love and joy in all the services we provide, recognizing your immeasurable goodness and with a heart full of thanksgiving. We send this prayer through you to our loving Father. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Sayang magiliw, elas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang pinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka pasisingil, sa gagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hiragang tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng atawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang ay magtitingin, lumalang araw ng warhabit pagsingka, mo'y langit sa piling mo, ang hinigaya na partay mga akin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please welcome our host, Mr. Richard Mills.
Welcome everyone to Asia Logistics Forum 2021, the golden age of supply chain logistics. Because of the pandemic, everybody has become comfortable ordering online, buying online, living online for areas like food that we never would have thought would be such an explosive opportunity. Logistics is the industry that ties everything together. And thankfully, Philippines is one of the only, or perhaps the only country in the world where the government has made tremendous infrastructure investments in roads, in bridges, in ports and airports and rail, even subways now being built. All of this is going to have a tremendous impact on how logistics is done throughout the nation. Many of you know that the Philippines currently has somewhat expensive logistics and costs, but that will change over these next couple of years as the government continues its tremendous achievements in this area. And I know it's fashionable to not say nice things about governments, but in this case, we really, really need to do this because they have really made a big contribution to the nation. And logistics, this is the key sector that will tie everything together and will really have, like I said, the golden age of supply chain logistics is here. So really glad to have you, and let's get going for Asia Logistics Forum 2021. All right, let's get going with Asia Logistics Forum 2021. Our first speaker, we are so pleased to welcome him back, Richard Strollo. He is the Vice President of Supply Chain for LBC. Everybody knows in Philippines and around the world, LBC operations in how many different countries. And it's impressive that they attracted Richard here. He is married to a Filipina, so maybe that's part of it, but certainly one of the region's most senior industry leaders. He's worked across the Asia region as country head in countries as diverse as Taiwan, Korea, Malaysia, Philippines, for major companies in the industry. So yeah, we're pleased that Philippines is attracting such people to the country to help us build the logistics sector. So please welcome Richard Strollo, Vice President of Supply Chain for LBC. So glad to have you, Richard, and see you again.
Well, thank you very much for that amazingly warm welcome, Richard. And it's fantastic to be back in the Philippines. So if I could just share. So as Richard indicated, I'm the Vice President of Supply Chain for LBC Express. So mainly looked after building up our warehousing solutions around the country, and of course, working with the colleagues on supporting other parts of other sectors of growth for LBC within the Philippines and also regionally. So we talk about LBC. Okay, everybody thinks LBC, right? We know. So who are we? Who are we, LBC? So in the simplest sense, we are a brand that likes to move packages, right? Packages, of course, money, products for you and or your company, right? So we obviously have an extensive 1,600 branch footprint and presence within the Philippines. So packages moving out of there, money moves in and out, and of course, products. So we're doing all those things across the Philippines. And then also within Southeast Asia primarily. We have a presence in the Middle East as well as Europe and of course, North America, Canada, and the United States. So that's who we are really, as everybody knows, LBC. So ultimately what we're trying to do is linking and bridging customers, right? So we're the Philippines leader in the money market in terms of payment, money transfer, documents, mail, parcels, cargo, and logistics, right? So network of 6,400 locations, partners and agents in over 30 countries globally, right? So for sure, LBC is committed to moving lives, business and communities, and delivering smiles around the world, right? So that's those really, in terms of linking and the bridging the customers globally, right? So the Filipinos all over the world. Basically, we were founded in 1945, so we just celebrated our 70th anniversary as a brokerage and air cargo agent. So we pioneered express delivery and cargo shipping and 24-hour door-to-door delivery in the Philippines. And today, of course, clearly we're the most trusted courier, cargo logistics, and remittance service provider in the Philippines and for the global Filipino, really. So we're looking in the Philippines and also a regional and global presence. So we like to move it. You see it on our trucks everywhere. You see it on the packages. We like to move it. But so what else do we like to do, right? So this is more of an area that in terms of what I'm looking after. So we have the warehousing services. So we do all the normal things inside warehouses. We do storage, moving, quality management, things like that, and also our value-added services. We do cross-border. So we do actually a fair amount of international movements around the region, and also, of course, our very famous Balikbayan box for inbound shipments, basically from Filipinos returning all over the world. So we do a big cross-border. We also have an NVOCC division, which is quite robust. So we're working with the shipping lines, moving cargoes on vessels, not just domestically, but also within the region to Trans-Pacific and also into Europe. We also offer cross-dock services, which are connected to our warehouses and hubs. And most importantly, I think for us, besides our branch and our retail, is our specialized logistics, right? So we know each business is unique, right? So the main thing for us is to understand a customer's concerns and listen to potentially where their pain points are, where we can provide a solution, a tailored creative solution for their business needs, right? And provide tailor-fit solutions exactly to what a customer would need, and not just come in and say, this is our products, where do you fit in? We're very keen on business solutions, right? That's the division I work within. So we're very focused on providing a solution for a customer, not a one size fits all shop. It's very critical in our specialized logistics under solutions as we continue to grow that group around the world. So we talk globally, right? So we say, where can we take you? So very simple, our mission, right? Help you make the right moves and grow your business. So whether it's business, whether you have a small business, whether you're a shop or up to a large MNC, how do we help you make those right moves and grow your business and improve your bottom line, particularly coming out of the post-pandemic era, as we hope to supercharge the economy and play our part locally to get businesses moving again, right? And from the first shipment of the day to storage, inventory monitoring, we're here for you. So again, it's the reminder that we're doing a lot of things, particularly in the business solutions sector, the warehousing, the distribution, the last mile, all those specialized handling that we can do. the vessel movement, row, all those things that we're doing to help move and help you move your shipments. So I think lastly, I just want to close really, like, times are tough, right? It's been a difficult year and a half, I think, certainly in the Philippines, certainly globally, but we are the right partner for any business to help you grow domestically. And then as you reach goals internationally, we're there to support you as well. So thank you very much for your continued support of LBC Express.
Okay, a special guest. We have Ann Pastrana. She is the Executive Vice President of FastCat, known as. And this is, if you haven't seen these things, this is really revolutionizing travel in Philippines and cargo. She's the first catamaran roll-on, roll-off ferries across the nation that are really opening up businesses and these communities to really be part of the entire national economy. So it's really important what she's doing, and really a big history there, both for people who are tourists and who want to travel, and especially for cargo, because this is an easy, fast, and safe way to get your products to wherever they need to go. So please welcome Ann Pastrana of FastCat. Really glad to have you, Ann.
Thank you so much.
Connected Islands. Safe travels. Easy transport. Convenient journeys. Great destinations. Bridging the Philippine Islands seamlessly, turning them into one. Visit fastcat.com.ph.
Hello again, everybody, and thank you for having us here in the Asia Logistics Conference. This morning, I'm happy to talk about our company, Archipelago Philippine Ferries Corporation, and FastCat. We are connecting the Philippine Islands via these ships that you see before you. This is one of our latest ships that has arrived recently. It's called FastCat M20. Allow me to share with you the outlook of the Philippine Inter-Island Shipping Association. We have seen an upward trend in remittances from our OFWs, and we have seen the impact of the government tax reforms, particularly the train. We have seen implemented improvements in the industries in construction, innovative communication, IT, wellness, retirement, and logistics, and outsourcing as well, that will probably help for a stronger and recovering peso. The robust manufacturing sector is seen to boost logistics, especially in the sea transport sector. We have seen challenges also, and for 2022, the challenges that we foresee is that, yes, we will have the elections, and we are wondering about its aftermath and the possible repercussion in peace and order situation. We still have the unresolved West Philippine Sea issue and the controversies in government spending and transactions. Recently, we have seen an upward trend in global oil prices, which impacts our sector because about 40% of our revenues goes to fuel and oil. We have seen challenges in the spending priorities of government and the timely restoration of the new normal situation in the country because of the pandemic. Well, let me tell you more about FastCat. As you can see here, the Philippine map, we have put our connection, the islands that we connect, where you see the cats, that would be our routes. So we are serving the Philippines, connecting the nautical highways in the western, central, and eastern corridors. And the red islands that you see there are the connections that we are still about to connect. When we would have finished our Vision 2030, we would have connected more islands that were never connected before. And what does this mean? This means providing decent, reliable connection to the islands, and therefore having that ripple effect in business, in education, in so many other industries, farming, agriculture, tourism. So again, as our video have said, Philippines as one. We know that the Philippines has the 5th longest coastline in the world. And so Philippine domestic shipping is a vital component for growth and socio-economic progress. And we are happy to report that FastCat has the youngest fleet in the Philippines. As you can see in the table before you, this is the age profile of ro-ro ships in the country. So you can see that they're not so young, but we're happy to report that with FastCat, we are one of the youngest. This is a report from the Philippine Ports Authority saying that they have seen a favorable passenger traffic improvement because of the sea travel, because of the ro-ro vessels and fast crafts and motorized bangkas as a primary mode of transportation for domestic inter-island travel. And it is the cheapest way, mind you, the cheapest way to bring your goods and to travel is using shipping. Passenger volume also continues to expand over the years, but definitely the pandemic affected that, as you can see in my next slide. Again, this is is from the Philippine Ports Authority and our marina. And you can see the trend from 2016 to 2019, there is an upward trend, but 2020, because of the pandemic, was on a downward trend. So this is for the cargo. And you can see as well in the passenger traffic that it has been on the rise, except for 2020 because of the pandemic again. Well, as they say, if you're down, there's no way to go but up. And so we look forward to the upward trend as more people are vaccinated and we are going back to normal, the new normal. Well, we'd like to show you here the routes that we have opened from 2013 up to 2021. As you can see in the slides, we have connected these islands, and we are connecting islands that were never connected before with ships like ours. The recent one being Caticlan, Kaluya, and Semirara. Our ships, the catamaran, have special features. Over time, we have improved it. Like the one you saw in the picture is 54 meters, and it has bigger passenger and lane meter capacity with wave breaker hull design, better engine models, all for safety. It's more stable. The speed is ideal or faster than the ones we have right now in the Philippines. The draft contributes to safety. We are environmentally friendly by using solar panels, and this also reduces our fuel costs. Of course, we take into heart our customer experience, and so in the design, we ensure that there's space and comfort, there's ease in boarding. We have included in our design redundancy and maneuverability for the good of our seafarers as well. So you might ask, so what? What about vessel features? What's the impact in the supply chain? This just means that you have a very safe and very fast and very convenient way to take your goods and, of course, more importantly, people to the islands of the Philippines. An international publication called Baird Maritime has reported the safety of multi-hull vessels. They have seen that multi-hulls, or the catamarans, have significantly fewer fatal accidents, and that fatal accidents were attributed to human error. And these multi-hull vessels represent less than 5% of the total global ferry fleet, but have been responsible for a mere 0.001% of fatalities. Catamarans have not been known to capsize or sink, and catamarans are clearly considerably safer than other vessel types. So definitely using this kind of ships will improve the safety record of the Philippines. And more than that, we value lives. We don't want more lives lost in accidents like this. And the pandemic happened, and because of that, we have pivoted and now have offered more new services to serve our country. So we have port-to-port cargo services. We have offered our ships for chartered trips, and we have made our FastCats as venue for events like weddings and inter-island cruise parties. More importantly, maritime training and corporate events. FastCat is innovative. We have our FastCat app where our customers can book online way ahead and cashless and seamless. We train our people and our cadets using our learning management system that it's like our university. And because we feel that we need to build capacity and be experts in what we do, we are serious in our training and learning, not only for our team members, but for our customers and our cadets who train with us as well. So traveling in the Philippines has never been easy. So we invite you all to check out our website, www.fastcat.com.ph. You will see the beauty of the islands and you will see that this is the way to go. And we invite everybody to come, ride, and sail with us. We have written our Vision 2030, and that is Philippines as one. By 2030, we hope to have 60 FastCats connecting the Philippine Islands, and we want to be the largest fleet of internationally classed catamaran roll-on, roll-off, cargo and passenger vessels in the country. We want to be the leading and preferred domestic ro-ro shipping in the Philippines, and in so doing, we want to help and promote local trade, tourism, and agriculture. We intend to craft and implement the best solutions and business strategy in mitigating and controlling risks. And we intend to go public in somewhere in the next 10 years. And of course, we care about our environment and continuous corporate social responsibility. With that, thank you very much again, Asia Logistics, for inviting us, and it was a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Super. Thank you very much, Anne. Yes, it's an interesting story, so please keep doing well. We want to see a big fleet, and I'm looking forward to traveling on them as well.
Please, please. We would love to have you on board, Richard.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anne. Welcome to our next speaker is Ronnie Yambaugh. His official title is Senior Deputy Administrator Operations for SBMA Subic Bay, and this is the organization that promotes and oversees Subic Bay as a premier port opportunity for the nation and for the region. This is, everyone is talking about it as this is the time for Subic Bay to really become a premier destination as part of the grand economic strategy for North Luzon. So really pleased to have Ronnie with us. Please welcome Ronnie Yambaugh of SBMA.
I will be presenting the Subic Bay Freeport Zone as a safe haven for investments and as a multimodal logistics hub. Allow me please to begin with the brief history of the Subic Bay Freeport Zone. The Subic Bay Freeport Zone was once a Spanish naval station in 1800s. Then after the Spanish-American War, the US forces took control of the Spanish naval facility in 1898. And in 1909, the US Navy selected Subic Bay as a repair and supply depot. And then came World War II. And in 1947, the Philippines-US Military Bases Agreement was signed. And in 1992, the Bases Conversion Development Act was signed, forming the former US military base into now what is called the Subic Bay Freeport Zone. There were two major developments that prompted the creation of the Subic Bay Freeport Zone, or what we now call as the Subic Bay Freeport. So these developments are the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in June 1991, and the closure of the US Naval Base in Subic in November 1992. Right now, the Subic Bay Freeport Zone is a host to the first and largest Freeport Zone in the Philippines. It is a home to 1,536 local and foreign investors with more than 11 billion cumulative investments. The workforce in Subic right now is at 124,000 workforce. It hosted the biggest shipbuilding facility in the Philippines. It is the only free port zone in the country with an international seaport and airport. It has a total area of 67,452 hectares and has available leased property of more than 2,000 hectares. It is accessible by land, sea, and air. The Freeport Zone is strategically located in key markets with the EU duty-free access for 6,000 or more than 6,000 tariff line under the GSP Plus program. The Philippines is the only ASEAN country with GSP Plus. EFTA duty-free from all industrial products is also an opportunity. GSP access to UK, Russia, and Canada. The Subic Bay Freeport Zone is located in north of Manila. As you can see here in this slide, it has access to more than 650 million population in the ASEAN market. The Philippines was the third fastest growing economy in Asia. The Philippines GDP per capita is at $3,500 with low and stable inflation rates of an average of 3% from 2016 to 2019. The Philippines has a workforce of 45 million talent pool. The workforce is highly educated and proficient in English, strongly customer-oriented, multi-skilled, highly trainable with fast learning curve, and adaptable to universal cultures with high level of communication and commitment. In this slide, you will see the competitive salary and steady wage increase. The cost competitive in terms of human resource across Southeast Asia, given the quality and the cost of every workforce, can be seen in this slide in comparison to Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam. As you can see in this slide, the Philippines' competitiveness in salary and steady wage increase is very promising with the start of the pandemic in March 2021. The global maritime trade, the airline industry, and other business sectors have embraced the new normal. While the movement of goods during pandemic is unhampered, the policy on the unhampered flow of cargoes is a nationwide policy that must be strictly followed in all local government units nationwide. Pursuant to the executive order issued by the President EO 112 on the implementation of community quarantine in the Philippines, it directs the unhampered movement of all types of cargoes by land, sea, and air. Allow me please to show this slide showcasing the Subic as a complete port with 15 piers and wharves capable of handling all types of ships. As you can see in slides, the piers and wharves are strategically located in the entire Freeport Zone that can accommodate containerized shipment, break bulk cargo, fertilizers, agricultural products, petroleum oil lubricants, and even we have a terminal for cruise ship liners. What we have in Subic Bay Freeport Zone is a complete logistics hub and an infrastructure that has the airport and the seaport facilities in one location. These are the port terminals. The Bravo Wharf has a length of 411 meters. It is used for cargo vessels, livestock, and heavy equipment. The Marine Terminal is dedicated for general cargo and for rice, corn, and other break bulk cargoes. This pole pier is dedicated for petroleum oil lubricants. The Leyte Wharf is the grains terminal. This has a length of 300 meters and a width of 32.6 meters and a draft of 13 meters. While the Buton Wharf is dedicated for berthing of transshipment vessels for break bulk cargoes like fertilizers. Nabasan Wharf, on the other hand, is for maritime training. This is also earmarked for other vessels for commercial ships. Alava Wharf is dedicated for cruise ships and other vessels. The Rivera Wharf is dedicated for ferry boats and other ships for military. Subic Bay, as you know, is a cruise ship playground. We were able to accommodate more than 30 cruise ship arrivals in 2018 and 2019, of which one of the biggest cruise ships that docked in the port of Subic Bay, particularly at Lava Pier, is the Oasis of the Seas by Royal Caribbean. The Subic Bay International Terminal Corporation is a subsidiary of ICTSI. It has a capacity of 600,000 TEUs. It has 4 key cranes, 6 rubber-tired gantry cranes. It is 26.32 hectares in size with a berth length of 560 meters. All the major shipping lines call the port of Subic Bay. These are APL, Evergreen, SITC, One, CMA, CGM, Costco Shipping, Maersk, Sealand, One High, Sinotrans, and other major shipping lines. As everybody knows, we used to host Hanjin as one of the biggest shipbuilding companies in the world. During the height of the operations of Hanjin, we were the first largest shipbuilding facility in the world. Right now, the Hanjin shipyard is being considered as another shipbuilding facility by a multinational company. The Port of Subic Bay is also a station for LNG or liquefied natural gas ship-to-ship transfer business model. Other key facilities are the Pure Petroleum and the Philippine Coastal Storage Pipeline Corporation, and a grains terminal located at the Leyte Wharf. In addition to the seaport facilities, the Subic Bay Freeport has an airport, a container terminal, and seaport facilities. This airport has a length of 2.7-kilometer runway. Right now, we are host to the Philippine national government's repatriation program through the Bayanihan flights. In the past 3 months, we were able to host 26 Philippine Airlines flights. We were able to serve 8,000 passengers. These flights came from Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Macau, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and other ASEAN countries. The business opportunities at the airport include corporate jet bubble, air freight logistics hub, maintenance, repair, overhaul, domestic and international flights. As you know, the BCDA and the Department of Transportation are the lead agencies in the Subic-Clark Cargo Railway project. This project is about 71 kilometers long, with 30 to 50 meters wide. It supports the current industrial activities and potential demand for freight and passenger services along the Subic-Clark corridor. The objective is to realize one of the components of the PNR Luzon development framework. This will provide the needed infrastructure for Metro Luzon Urban Beltway. Other development projects in the pipeline include the reconstruction of Lava Pier, which has a total key length of 850 meters. The project cost of this redevelopment of SRF is at 8.65 billion pesos or 170 million US dollars. The next project in the pipeline, which the SBMA is open to other financing program, is the new marine terminal. This has a total key length of 500 meters, total area of 12 hectares, with a draft of 12 meters. The approximate cost of this redevelopment program is 136 million US dollars or approximately 6.8 billion pesos. We also invite manufacturing related industries in this area of Tipo and Subic Bay Freeport Zone. We have 2 proponents that have redeveloped this part of the Freeport Zone, and they are open to various businesses like manufacturing, nanotechnology, renewable energy, and other commercial developments. These are the other investment opportunities in Subic Bay Freeport Zone, from port operations, warehousing, transshipment, to shipbuilding, ship repair, industrial park development, consumer goods, renewable energy, service industry, software design, BPO, R&D, animation, creative industries. So that ends my presentation. Thank you very much.
That is a really good presentation, Ronnie. I didn't know what to expect, and you really did a fantastic job. People don't know a lot of this stuff, Ronnie. How far along is Subic? Do we have to wait another 5 years or 5 months? What do you think?
So in the past several years, the redevelopment of Subic Bay Freeport Zone has really been in the area of maritime and manufacturing business and logistics. Right now, the former Hanjin shipbuilding facility is now being eyed by a multinational firm to be taken over by this company. And so this is a big business, not only for Subic Bay, but in the region, because shipbuilding and ship repair industries will go to Subic, where the cost is very competitive, the location is strategic, and the geographical infrastructure, with the mountains embracing the harbor, it is really safe.
Absolutely. Ronnie, that's very exciting. I know the Hanjin facility, 34,000 employees, is just a fantastic success. Okay, well, Ronnie, keep up the great work you guys are doing. Our next speaker is Sunil Wahey. His official title is VP and Head Solution Engineering for Japan and the Asia Pacific region. So we're really pleased to have him. He's kind of a big shot, I guess you would call it, in the supply chain logistics world. Works with major organizations, Unilever, DB Schenker, on and on, all across the region. And I'm pleased to hear that Philippines is certainly one of his focuses here, and seems to think that there's big opportunities for the future. So yeah, a special guest in my mind, and certainly, yeah, many years in the technology space and supply chain, a part of that. So please welcome Sunil Wahey of Oracle. Really glad to have you, Sunil.
Thank you, Richard, and thanks for the introduction. It's great to be coming on these platforms to discuss and talk about what's happening in the world of supply chain and how is digitization kind of helping transform some of the customers we are working through. And I have been in this space for about 25 years now, leading solution engineering, leading strategy, working with customers, helping them transform their core supply chains, their core manufacturing systems, and also logistics, transitioning them to some of the new Industry 4.0 applications. And that's something which I pride about and has been a very, very exciting journey. Now, my conversation is going to be more around what's happening in the current COVID world and how are customers trying to transition out of this new normal, let's call it that way, right? So if you see what's going on around us at this point of time, we have seen so much of disruptions which have been caused by the businesses and the delays which are happening around it, right? I mean, every second day we hear about news around supply chains breaking, whole amount of disruptions taking place, and the pandemic has kind of caused us, these delays across the supply chain, right? I was planning to place an order for one of my movable, desk stand, and it has taken about 3 months for that particular study table to reach Singapore, and it hasn't yet arrived. It's the same thing which is applicable to pharmacies, to medicines, to food, and other products. Now, the question which we as business leaders need to ask is this going to be the new normal, or it's going to change, right? And what do we need to do if we have to make changes as part of this particular transition or new normal if we don't get this through? As part of this, the logistics industry has naturally had a big hit. There has been a big impact on the entire logistics segment, which is again going through challenges trying to get this fulfillment process lined up. As part of digitization, right, a lot of customers, a lot of conversations which we are having with companies is all around what should companies be doing to cross this, post-pandemic phase and start driving their digital journeys, which they have started upon, which they have actually started rolling about, but how do you then accelerate that particular journey? And to me, it's about, getting a perfect delivery or a perfect order fulfilled to your clients working through these large business or logistics engagements, right? Now, it's one thing to call out that it's going to be a perfect delivery, but different to say how do we achieve it, right? Because to have a perfect delivery, you need to make sure that you're running through a set of right products, you're running through perfect conditions, you have the right timing for your deliveries, and you have the right place where the deliveries are going to happen. Now, in most of the cases, it's something which does not take place. What are the reasons? The reasons are there is complexity in the supply chain today, right? We have seen how pandemic has shut down warehouses, how it has brought in a whole lot of border controls, how ports are jammed today. So how do you kind of trade through this volatility? How do you handle complexity of orders which are coming to you through new channels in the omni-channel world, right? We call it e-commerce. There's inventory visibility which is missing within these organizations. There's a whole lot of transportation constraints which are also getting established as global supply chains get clogged, and naturally at the same time, freight rates are going up. So how do you run through this particular transformation? The market turbulence, the government restrictions have naturally further given consumers to choose e-commerce and naturally drive this particular process through the disruption. Now, one such customer in Philippines has run through this transformation, and that customer is Concepcion. All I wanted to talk to you about Concepcion was they are a white goods maker and a distributor of global brands. Right in the middle of the COVID scenarios, they actually went through and ran a complete transformation process of moving their brick and mortar business to digital. And the way they started looking at it was customer experience first. They wanted an exceptional experience to be offered to the customers. So they started targeting, giving the right set of applications to their B2B companies and to the end customers. And that kind of started helping them drive a transformation from an outside in approach. So they moved from brick and mortars to online. They started expanding on their call center experience. They started giving a better service experience to customers who have dealt in their white good products and who are now looking at service or repairs of these products. So they started adopting a digital supply chain and a service platform focusing on customer first. Naturally, behind any strong customer experience platform, you need a strong supply chain to be running. And as part of that transition, they have also started rolling out a very strong logistics platform around transportation, a good capable platform around warehouse management. They have also started rolling out a better forecasting and planning footprint, which I think is a brain which kind of brings the planning and the logistics pieces all together. And it's a very important component of the overall end state architecture, which Concepcion is trying to achieve. Now, a very similar approach can also be adopted by customers as they are going through this, post-pandemic era. There are very few strategies which I would like to cover, specifically three, right? One was very similar to Concepcion. One of the strategies which they adopted was a distributed omni-channel model. And I think this is a play which a lot of companies can adopt today to give the right experience to customers. It also helps you drive the right inventory stock levels or production facilities from which these orders can be fulfilled. So it gives you the right level of visibility. It gives you the right level of experience, whether you're driving an omni-channel strategy or you're driving a strategy which is going to be a hybrid between omni-channel, in-store, or customer service. So having a well-orchestrated supply chain can help you start optimizing your overall experience for the customer. And it also starts giving you an additional set of distribution channel as the brick and mortar processes start getting clogged in cases we have seen as experienced during the during COVID times. The other strategy has been more around adopting a full-blown logistics and trade management platform, right? Now, this is what customers like Unilever have done. In fact, Unilever was able to increase their efficiencies around transportation and logistics during the COVID times, purely because they had a very strong transportation management platform run on our cloud technologies, which was helping them optimize their logistics network. It was helping them identify bottlenecks. It was helping them detect port congestions, warehouse capacities, right when the world was basically working remotely. And as part of that process, they were able to get to this transformation. We have also had other customers who have been running transportation strategies and logistics strategies successfully, like Aurobindo, which is referred here as part of the pharma industry. Again, a very large generics maker, a $5 billion plus group based out of India. So have a good omni-channel strategy, drive it from a very good distributed back-end supply chain model, supported with a very strong transportation and a trade management strategy. And I think those two areas are crucial as customers are envisaging, to get out of this post-pandemic era. The last but not the least area is the supply chain visibility piece. And I think visibility, to any supply chain practitioner is crucial, right? Visibility is everything around how do I set up the right level of control towers so I have a complete visibility across my distribution centers. I could have visibility around my inventory locations. I could look at, my stock checkpoints. I could have visibility into my supplier inventory so that my planning processes are having a clear insight into the availability, which then is going into my execution process. Today, we also have tools from an Industry 4.0 standpoint, like IoT applications, like blockchain, intelligent track and trace applications, which customers are also adopting to bring more real-time visibility to the supply chain, from the supply chain. And these are areas around, fleet visibility, to have real-time tracking of your fleet assets. We today have visibility solutions in the manufacturing applications, which can also offer a better visibility of your entire shop floor, which then naturally have an impact on time to deliver and when you're going to make these deliveries possible to the logistics network. So real-time visibility, which kind of complements the entire overall theory of supply chain visibility, is again a very important strategy as part of the post-pandemic scenarios. And how do we do that? Now, naturally, something what we do from an Oracle standpoint is we have the ability to help customers drive better visibility and insights, leveraging your existing platforms, but then also complementing them from a cloud set of technologies. And that's where we can come, drive better insight, a very strong return on investments on your solution. So please reach out to us, in the world of Oracle, as and when you would like to have a great conversation around supply chain. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you very much, Sunil. That is excellent material. Now, Sunil, how do people get in contact with you? Can I tell people that they can contact me to contact you, but you don't want everybody contacting? What kind of people would best be talking to you about your systems?
We are having conversations with customers in very focused industries like FMCG. Food and beverages is a big segment for us. We are having conversations with clients in the manufacturing segment. We have customers in the world of advanced high-tech industries around China, around Southeast Asia. Pharma is again a big focus for us, which we have had some very good engagements lately. So I think food, tech, high-tech, manufacturing would be key areas where we have a strong focus on, Richard.
Okay, so that's good. So very diverse. And now, Sunil, in terms of, world-class systems such as yours, have the reputation of being kind of expensive. Now, but I know you're doing more cloud work and so forth. Has it made it more affordable for companies in Philippines? What can you say about that?
Look, Richard, it's a good question, and it comes a lot when I deal with CXOs. And the simple answer is the world of cloud changes everything, right? Because cloud economics kind of very clearly look at how do you transition a particular organization in a modular approach. And today with the cloud solutions which we have, you could embark upon a very simple subset of the entire digital supply chain story and then start growing or ramping up as you go through that journey. The advantage which it offers you is a very quick return on investment, because the projects which traditionally used to take years, now
Yeah.
with the innovations and agility which cloud offers, you could roll them out in few weeks or few months, right? Whether it's on the demand side or it's on the supply side, or you're looking at a logistics transformation, or you're looking at pure play visibility platform. So we could do that today with our partners naturally in Philippines, in the Southeast Asia region, at a much more agile manner, Richard.
And now, Sunil, how does Philippines, measure up across the region? You have a lot of experience right across the Asia Pacific region. Is Philippines doing okay? Are we kind of not doing okay? What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's an important segment of the entire Southeast Asia market, because it's the largest consumption economy the last I checked, and I think it's growing leaps and bounds from a GDP standpoint. And I believe there's a lot of pent-up demand in Philippines, Richard, which is what we are all kind of subscribing to, and we are fairly optimistic about. We are working in the space of airlines, which is also looking at transformation as we speak. Right in this region, including Philippines. We are looking at, again, the classic FMCG companies. We are looking at, manufacturers. And my take is, where consumption strong, this is a young population which Philippines drives. Naturally, the trends of GDP growth will be way more faster to turn around the moment, we get out of this post-pandemic era.
Yeah, okay. Sunil, I'm so glad to hear it. I like positive, optimistic people. So, so really appreciate you being with us. I know a couple of your group are also, we're going to work with them. So if I can emphasize to people, if you can't find Sunil yourself, send me a message and I'll make the introduction, okay? So again, Sunil, really pleased to have you with us, and great luck to you in the future.
Thank you so much, Richard. It was great talking to you. And thanks again to Asia Logistics Forum for hosting us and Oracle.
Okay, our next speaker is Dee Ladonio of Coal Trans Cargo. She is the president there and also one of the nation's most exciting and interesting speakers for the logistics sector. She does a fantastic training program on importing goods into the country, among other things. So please welcome Dee Ladonio of Coal Trans Cargo. Glad to have you, Dee.
The Quadra's group of companies has been in the business for 35 long years. We do both international and domestic freight forwarding, customs clearance, trucking, warehousing, project cargos, and we specialize in exhibition cargo handling. Like most companies, our business is hard hit by the pandemic since last year. Our clients' volume of importation and exportation have decreased, although most of our clients are slowly going back to the levels of their importation and exportation activities despite the exorbitant freight costs that they are experiencing nowadays. We are still recovering from the devastating effects of COVID in our business. One of the pressing issues of the industry, I believe, is the growth in demand for air and sea cargo transportation at a time where there is limited freight and space availability, creating obstacles for international trade, forming interruptions in supply chain operations. The logistics and transportation industry were hindered in various ways across air, sea, and other freight segments in terms of high cost of freight, frequencies, space availability, and delays. Freight rates by air or sea is in an exaggerated high due to the factors which I just have mentioned. Freight rates now are up by 200 to 400%. It's really hard for our clients to ship unless it's really urgent that it cannot wait, like for example, food or medicine, or like one of our clients are sending election paraphernalia for the May 2022 elections. The handling of e-commerce cargo. E-commerce is expected to be the future growth driver for the air freight industry as online retailing increases its demand. And now that a lot of Filipino consumers has been introduced to the convenient way of online shopping, for example, via Lazada or Shopee, yes, e-commerce is definitely here to stay. While our company is not heavily involved in e-commerce, we have a few clients importing products in commercial or bulk quantities, and they sell via the online platforms that I have just mentioned. Other problems that we have encountered during this time of COVID is the validity of freight rates. Right now, it's only good for 1 month. Whenever we quote a client, it's just good for 1 month. It used to be 6 months pre-COVID time. And shippers and consignees won't be able to count on scheduled commercial capacity or scheduled departure or arrivals. This is a big problem for owners of companies, small, medium enterprises, procurement, logistics officers, as they cannot accurately forecast which can delay production or which can delay putting their product out in the market. With regards to trend, communications between forwarders, brokers, customs warehouses, shipping lines, and airlines are mostly done now through a portal system. And as mentioned earlier, our company specializes in exhibition cargo. We have been doing exhibition cargo since 1995, and we have handled more than 1,000 international and domestic trade shows from various industries such as construction, food equipment, semiconductor, metalworking, transport, coatings, energy, etc. And this part of our business is really hard hit by the pandemic. We have no movement in this area since there has been no exhibition since March of 2020. And as per the different forums that I have attended in the MICE industry, we see only a comeback of live exhibitions by 2023 here in the Philippines. Now, the trend in exhibitions is hybrid, online and live, but mostly online. But we are hopeful. There is poor engagement in digital or online exhibition, I believe. And so the worldwide exhibition industry for a fact knows that live events will make a strong comeback because it can never replace face-to-face sales and marketing strategies. As a closing, the cost of doing business is in an all-time high, and it's really hurting the importers and the exporters. Forecasting, setting product prices is very tough because it's very hard to estimate how much would be the total landed cost for the products to be brought in. We are hoping that we can go back to pre-COVID levels of transporting goods because these ridiculous freight rates being experienced now in reality is hurting the end consumers.
Okay, Dee, that was exciting as usual. Thank you very much, and keep up the great work you are doing. Thanks again. Our next speaker, we are so pleased to have her, is Rosemary Ong, the Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President of Wilcon Depot, President of the Philippine Retailers Association. And we know that if there's one industry that's been hit the hardest and is transforming the fastest, it is retail. So really pleased to have Rosemary on. So glad to have you, Rosemary, of Wilcon Depot.
Thank you, Richard, for that very kind introduction. By the way, shout out loud to my very good friend, Rebecca Bustamante as well. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Philippine Retailers Association, for the PRA, thank you very much for inviting me today in the Asia Logistics Forum 2021. It is really a pleasure to speak to all of you today, and I'm pleased to share with you some updates and trends on retail and logistics. But before I start, allow me first to introduce briefly what PRA is. The Philippine Retailers Association is the recognized national organization of retailers, and it represents nearly 80% of the total retail industry. We are a dynamic association with over 400 member companies covering the gamut of the distribution chain. In its fold, our membership include retailers, mall operators, and shopping center operators as well, to traders, suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, among others. Retail industry, as I've mentioned, is a vibrant network. So I'm very keen to share with you the latest updates and trends on retail and logistics, especially now that we are experiencing an e-commerce boom in the industry. Now, let me walk you through the retail sector. As you know, the retail industry is one of the main economic drivers of the country. It is one of the biggest sectors that contributes to the Philippines' GDP and provides a large portion of employment to the Filipino people. Based from the Philippine Statistics Authority, or the PSA, services where retail sector remains to be the highest share to GDP with 60.2% as of current data in the second quarter of this year. Moreover, the services sector continued to account for the largest share to employment with 57.9% of the total employed persons in July 2021. As of now, the Philippines is a consumer-driven economy. Hence, the retail industry plays an important role in driving the whole economy forward. So what are the challenges that we are facing now? The COVID-19 pandemic has affected all of us in so many different ways. It is an unseen force of nature, which no one was ever prepared for. Even the biggest company, we did not have any business continuity plan that would address this current situation that we have now. It also caused a global disruption to businesses across all industries and nations around the world. The business sector, particularly the retail industry, had to withstand all the challenges brought about by the government lockdowns, the community quarantines, and strict health protocols required in response to combating the pandemic. Some of the key challenges of the pandemic to retail are the restrictions or the movement of people. It's a good thing now, Richard, that we have this, more relaxed and more easy, that would allow us greater mobility. It was just announced that curfew would be shortened. So aside from that, the movement of people and businesses, there's a rapid change in the consumer demands and behavior. And of course, the decrease on consumer spending. The pandemic restrictions created new consumer demands, new behaviors, and new opportunities for online retailing and for the logistics industry as well. So how did we respond to the challenges in retail? In response to the pandemic challenges, we retailers have to quickly pivot to online and digital transactions, hence the acceleration of e-commerce. Furthermore, we had to rethink and re-strategize new ways to operate our business under this new normal by way of new capacity building and reskilling our people that complements our online and offline stores. The stores were used now as, in order to move inventory. It was used now during the time that restriction is really heavy. It's used now as a last mile delivery, or the fulfillment is center, just to be able to move inventory, whether the customer would want to purchase online, have it pick up, or have it delivered. Retailers had to adapt right away to the changing consumer demands by making sure that we give all of them, our customers and our customers, by the way, the safe and easy, seamless shopping experience in both space and place, or rather both online and offline stores. Now, let me give you a sense of the e-commerce boom, not only here in the Philippines, but of course, globally. In a report recently released last August 2021 by Facebook and Bain and Company, it is stated that there is an estimated 70 million more people who shops online in Southeast Asia since the pandemic began. And it is projected to grow more to 380 million by year 2026. This makes the region one of the bright emerging spots for digital economy, or the internet economy. Moreover, here in the Philippines, e-commerce growth has translated to a significant contribution of digital transactions to our local economy. According to the DTI, e-commerce contribution to the Philippine economy is seen to rise to 1.2 trillion by year 2022 from 599 billion last 2020. Because of the intermittent lockdowns and pandemic restrictions, Philippines and the rest of Southeast Asia region saw a rapid adoption of digital services like online shopping, food deliveries, and online payment methods. And the trend reports which states that this new shopping behavior will most likely continue and persist in the future. Now, On the very topic of retail and logistics moving forward, the disruption brought about by the pandemic has taught us retailers that we should always be resilient and future-proof our businesses, be sustainable, invest on technologies and logistics, and of course, innovations that will benefit our organization in the long run, making it flexible to any shocks and unforeseen disruptions such as what's happening now. Through the years, technology has always been the partner of retail towards progress and innovation. It allows more possibilities for retailers to achieve optimal business results, efficiency in business operations, and now, more importantly, provide effective and swift logistics delivery systems to help us serve our customers better. According to the report from PricewaterhouseCoopers, or the PwC, the store of the future will be omni-channel and experience-rich that fuses the physical and digital world. Technology will definitely continue to revolutionize online and physical retail, forcing rapid change and innovation, thereby complementing each other both in place and space. As such, digital habits of people are here to stay even in a post-pandemic future. Retailers will always seek to provide their customers frictionless shopping experience that combines the best of both online and physical stores to appeal to what consumer shopping preferences are. So it's really giving an option to our customers. If there's limitation in one channel, you have the other channel for you to choose. And it highlights both the benefits and the limitations of both online and online. And in doing so, retailers will definitely need to be efficient with their logistic partners that can help them provide their customers smooth transaction from the beginning of their shopping journey until the last mile fulfillment. Now, in conclusion, the pandemic has really tested the retail sector's ability to survive in the long run amidst unprecedented challenges. It is indeed changed the retail landscape. As we are experiencing it today, logistics is an essential part of retail and will continue to be. As I mentioned earlier, retail is really a very dynamic industry that continue to evolve and keep up with the latest trends in the market, as well as the latest innovations in technology and other aspects of the business. As we take the road to recovery, we will most likely carry out these new retail experiences, e-commerce, contactless and digital transactions, and overall, let's not forget, healthy lifestyle preferences for most of the consumer market. We, the Filipino retailers, have exhibited through the years that we are resilient, we are receptive to innovation, and adaptive to the rapid changes in the retail landscape. Hence, we have no doubt that these challenges shall pass and that we can overcome them as long as we all work together. Thank you very much, and good morning again to all of you. Thank you for having me again.
Very good. Thank you, Rose. Now, Rose, could I ask you, I know you mentioned while we were talking briefly before that many of the other countries, or I don't know, so-called advanced countries, they're already ramping up. Now, is Philippines able to compete? Because, you know, Philippines has Christmas coming, a big shopping time. How is Philippines doing in getting all of the products that it needs?
Well, it really depends on the company, right? So as I mentioned, generally, there's really pressure on logistics, no? And even you know, not only within us, no, within, let's say, same sector, like for example, the apparel sector, or even our own sector, the home improvement sector, no. But as I mentioned, the global market has really, you know, has been affected with this pandemic, though. So globally, first world countries who were first, to recover from the pandemic, no, from this COVID-19, their demand is ramping up already. That's why there's pressure, as I've mentioned, there's pressure not only on the container, but basically also there's pressure also on the allocation. And I'm sure you know that the world is really very much dependent on China now. And I'm sure you've heard in the news that China also has been having challenges also, let's say, in the power, because from what I know is that some of the factories in China now, they're having, challenges because the government is now rationing the distribution of power so that every, they're able to achieve that ESG, target of the government. And at the same time also, when you ration the power generation, they're able to distribute it, no? Because I think there's also a shortage in power in China, no? Because maybe because of the high demand, no? Now that all these economies are ramping up, they have high demand also, and the Philippines is competing with them, no? So it's really a matter of how good you are in your planning, no? That's why I'm very proud that our company was able to thrive in this pandemic, especially last year, no? When we were challenged, there was disruption in demand, there was disruption also in supply, no? So I guess the strategy of just in case, rather than just in time, because just in time you just have enough, no? You're just optimizing whatever you have, no? But with just in case, you have buffer inventory so that when you're challenged, when you have situations like this, you have something to serve the market. You have a healthy inventory, I would say.
Good. Okay. And now, Rose, you also have seen, both for your own substantial business and for the many retailers you deal with or communicate with, but how are they doing in terms of their own e-commerce requirements? Are people actually doing, is it a lot of talk, or is it people are actually ordering and we see this as a real explosive growth, or is it steady growth, would you say?
We've seen the acceleration of e-commerce, no? Actually, even before pandemic, many of the retailers have already invested in the digital transformation of their companies, no? It's just that, COVID-19 really accelerated it, no? Because of the issues of mobility. You have to continue serving your customers, no? With your products, no? That's why I mentioned in my presentation that, some of the retailers, they use their stores, the last mile delivery, if they're challenged with, people coming into the stores, no? So, the brick and mortar stores was really challenged, especially those located in the malls, no? Where, there's high traffic, and then because of this social distancing, requirement, no? So I guess I would say, based on the statistics that we got from the DTI, we're expecting that by year 2022, we would reach to a trillion peso, no? More than 1 trillion peso, e-commerce sales, no? So we saw it, no? We did it in just 1 year, no? The target was that over several years, no? But we did it from 599 billion in 2020. Now we're expecting that we will reach trillions in 2022.
Wow. Okay. So it really is something then. Okay. And are there certain sectors that you've heard of that do much better than others, and others that where they haven't done on e-commerce and so forth? Have you heard anything like that?
Well, I guess in respect to e-commerce, though, it really depends on the company, but by and large, most of the retailers just really jump into the, in the digital transformation journey. Depending on how big you are, like if you're able to build capacity, invest on, let's say, tier 1 service provider, no? Like for example, large companies who can afford to invest, no, on the e-commerce platform, no. But there are those MSMEs, no, even the small retailers, or even I would say big retailers also have resorted to tapping other channels such as social media, no? I'm sure you've heard that during the pandemic, during the height of the lockdown, no, many of the businesses or many of the retailers have resorted to social commerce, no? And it's really very very encouraging for the Philippines. No, now that we are all locked down, we tend to appreciate more our community. That's why, you know, the commerce was centered on the community. You would see, even probably in your own subdivisions, no, you would see a lot of entrepreneurs selling, you know, food, anything that they can sell just to be able to, you know, to provide services and their products to within their community. And I guess now we see a shift also on how the supply or the value chain is, you know, no. So like for example, even the distributors themselves or the manufacturers themselves, no, they really try to find ways to connect direct to their customers, no, thus eliminating layers, no. So previously you have to pass through a distributor, you have to pass through a dealer, but now some of them, no, they have their own e-commerce site, they go to the marketplace, they go to social commerce, no? So different ways really of thriving and surviving. And it's not just happening in the Philippines, it's happening everywhere in the world, no? So Facebook, I mean, social media or social channels has become now the venue for not only, you know, connecting with you know, with friends and relatives, connecting with everyone, but basically as a venue to sell, as a venue to move products, you know.
Interesting. That is so interesting. Okay, well, thank you very much, Rose Ong. Really, really nice to see you again. All right, our next speaker is Susie Mitchell. Her title is Country Manager of Crown Lift Trucks. This is one of the world's largest manufacturers of warehouse vehicles and a lot of other related type products. And Susie has an interesting background because most of her career has been in the logistics industry. Came here with DHL, where she ran a large groups across the country from Australia to China and all across the region. And she decided to stay because of the growth and opportunities and probably the lovely Filipino friends she has too. So please welcome Susie Mitchell, Country Manager of Crown Lift. Glad to have you, Susie.
Thank you, Richard. What a wonderful introduction, and it's a pleasure being here and joining the forum today. When I look at the Philippines, I see the underlying investment that's certainly there by the government. I look at the resilience of the population and the resilience of the economy and the ability for this economy to bounce back. And also I'm viewing what is happening around the rest of the globe, how other countries have come out of the pandemic and the impact of the logistics industry is going through in these other countries. An example being for the corporation that I work for, Crown Lift Trucks, the major provider of our equipment now in the United States is actually the e-commerce corporation. So Amazon directly is purchasing an unprecedented amount of equipment as they develop their logistics industry and infrastructure directly. Now, in the Philippines, whether we see a direct investment by these e-commerce players or whether we see an indirect via logistics companies or 3PLs, I do believe that this industry will continue to grow in the Philippines. One of the reasons why I think we're set for development is indeed as a response to the government's huge investment in infrastructure that has come through at the perfect timing for the Philippines. Particularly for logistics, it's so important to have a good road network and seamless supply. Now, in the past and at the moment, I would describe the logistics industry as fairly mature, but on the e-commerce side at the moment, it's probably a little bit less mature. And that is because it is a relatively new industry and because the players in the industry in some cases have started from a smaller base. These players are now becoming large. They're increasing in size, and in their own right, they are becoming more of a dominant force, and all the traditional players in the logistics industry here are getting directly involved in this online or e-commerce. So we are certainly seeing a trend towards that, and we're seeing the facilitation of this industry because of this road network particular, but also the airport network, the ports, the overall infrastructure supporting. I think it's also opportune time to discuss not only the growth that's happening in the United States, but the pressure that global growth is perhaps putting on some of the industry. The commodity prices globally have gone up substantially. Everybody has seen and read in the news, and I'm sure many corporations have even felt the impact out of China of the electricity shortages. That will put some pressure on the Philippines. It'll put pressure on equipment that comes in to support the logistics industry. It will put pressure on equipment at airports, at ports, even inside logistics facilities. So regardless of whether equipment comes from China or the United States or Europe, there is going to be an increase in the cost base. This unfortunately is going to happen. But the benefits for the Philippines is because this industry is maturing, because the road networks are available. It means that Philippine corporations and companies in this industry can also afford to invest in this equipment because the payback is going to be there, and the payback is going to be there now more so than ever because the industry is freeing up because of this infrastructure development. So we've got some interesting dynamics, certainly on the other influences being commodity prices, equipment. We can see in other countries around the world this growth that's will absolutely come to the Philippines. And we can also see the road network is there and available. And combined, I do think that we'll see a maturing of this sector in the logistics industry, becoming, what would be the word, a little bit more cost conscious, but essentially growing, not just sort of pushing it down to a low provider, but we're seeing more large scale providers take scope and responsibility for a bigger piece of this industry. Of course, consumers are not going to go back and change their patterns. The retail industry will still be there. So this is a complementary industry. And also with the population and the growth, there's no reason to think it's an all or nothing. It's an additional growth that will support the rebounding of the Philippines industry. It's a growth in the logistics sector, and it's a growth that everybody and all the players in this industry can benefit from and be part of. So I think it's a wonderful topic that we're discussing today. I think it's very interesting. I do believe there's going to be a lot of changes still to come in the coming years, and I'm happy to be part of this growth and this opportunity that the Philippines has. As you know, we continue to grow and get bigger and support those end customers of ours. So thank you very much
good,
for
Susie.
your
Thank you
time
very
and
much
opportunity
too. Yes,
to have this discussion
the future really
today,
is
Richard.
exciting, and you've somehow got
Very
yourself
good, Susie.
now
Thank
again
you
in
very
a
much
heck of
too.
a good
Yes,
place.
the future really is exciting, and you've somehow got yourself
now
again in a heck
they're
of
going
a
to have
good
your
place.
equipment in
It
them.
seems
So,
like every major
really glad to have you,
through,
Susie,
you
and
see
give
these
us
huge
an
warehouses.
inspirational
And they're all going to have
story
your
of
equipment
what's
in them.
ahead.
So
It really is
really
an
glad to
exciting
have
time.
you,
Thank you
Susie,
again,
and give us
Susie
a,
Mitchell.
I think
Yes,
an
okay.
inspirational
Very
story
good.
of
Okay,
what's
Susie, well,
ahead.
that was
It really
good.
is an exciting time. Thank you again, Susie Mitchell. Yes, okay. Final speaker of the event is, I'm so glad to have her again, and whenever we do have her, it's Bing Sibal Lim Joko. She is, well, I know her as CEO of Fran Corp, but she is also the chairman of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Philippines. Known as the mother of Philippine franchise, she has helped many of the nation's most successful franchisors become global power or national or even global powerhouses. Potato Corner, the generics, pharmacy, bench, pen shop, on and on. So we're really, really glad to have her. Heavily involved in franchising and retailing.
And it shows you how important supply chain logistics and all of that is. So we're really e-commerce, because this is where everything's going, and we've got Bing here to really show that this is where we all need to be. So really glad to have her. Please welcome Bing Sibal Limjoko. So glad to have you, Bing.
Thank you so much, Richard. It is indeed my pleasure to be with you today for the Asia Logistics Forum. It is indeed my pleasure to be with all of you today for the Big Asia Logistics Forum. We all know that the COVID-19 pandemic has fast-tracked the digital transformation of the country, including the growth of e-commerce and the mobilization of digital platforms. Logistics service providers, the payment gateway, architecture, banks, MSMEs, consumers who are all part of the e-commerce ecosystem. In order to survive and thrive in today's new world order, retailers and businesses have to transform their operations and adopt pivoting strategies by building its presence or strengthening their presence in the digital space, making their products and services readily available online, and to stay connected with their customers, even amidst the protracted lockdown implemented by the government. The growth of e-commerce in the country has amplified the logistics industry, as the last mile logistics has gained popularity in the Philippines, especially amongst domestic shipping companies. Reports indicate that e-commerce adoption in the Philippines grew from 70% in 2019 to 76% in 2020 and 80.2% in 2021. And the logistic market is expected to grow to 8.2% in the next 5 years. The e-commerce explosion has likewise paved the way for new business models wanting to seize opportunities that this development has created. As business support organizations, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, PCCI, the Philippine Franchise Association, PFA, the Philippine Retailers Association are working closely with the government, particularly with the Department of Trade and Industry, in ensuring that the e-commerce roadmap launch this year will be realized. The roadmap lays down the following strategic recommendations to optimize the opportunities of e-commerce. The first is infrastructure to promote the adoption of e-commerce. The second is entry of investments into e-commerce. Third is the promotion of innovative concepts and ideas. The fourth is protection of intellectual capital. Fifth, information flows. And sixth, integration or the ability to connect domestic industries with global economy. At the franchise sector, we are currently replicating the proof of concept of 3 logistic companies. First is the Tutubi Logistics Services Company. Second is BEX, BEXC Logistics Solution. And third, Taumasu Express Transport Solutions, or TEXT for short. Tutubi has a minimal fee of 15,000 for the use of the app and minimal franchise fee. They want to help tricycle drivers and become like Grab or Lalamove. BEX started in Bulacan by a couple in 2019 and they have express, meaning same-day delivery, and they would like to now spread all over the Philippines, and they will be ready within the year. The third is Tex, and it is a logistic and supply chain company based in Pulilan, Bulacan, and committed to make every vehicle available to Filipinos, allowing the movement of products and services efficiently. They are pioneering the new algorithm in demand service delivery. Aside from forging a partnership with Lazada to help the PCCI SME members reach to wider market, we at PCCI also continue to advocate with government and other stakeholders to reduce the shipping cost, both for domestic and international destinations. In a report released by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, the cost of logistics to sell remains high in the Philippines, approximately 27% higher, and compared to other ASEAN neighbors. Addressing this concern could enhance our competitiveness and accelerate trade and economic growth in the country. In these trying times, it is also important to identify innovative solutions to address the concerns of our exporters who had difficulty bringing their products abroad, since there are a few ships that are coming to the country due to strict lockdown. Through our advocacy at the Export Development Council and the Philippine Exporters Confederation, we were able to address this issue by partnering with a local logistics company to sail abroad. Just last week, the Irish Pawai sailed direct to the US, which provided the much-needed vessel space for local exporters hit hard by the pandemic, induced supply chain disruptions. In relation to this, PCCI is supporting the amendments of the Philippine Registry Act to allow ships to cater to domestic and international routes and to allow more shipping vessels to register in our country. I cannot overemphasize that there are still many challenges that we need to overcome to fully maximize the benefits of e-commerce and efficient logistics systems and services. But through partnerships among stakeholders, we will be able to rise up to these challenges and move our economy forward. Thank you and congratulations to the Asia CEO Forum for organizing this very important event.
Thank you, Bing, Subal, and Joko. There you have it from the person herself. So the chairman of the PCCI organization with us today, and really we got it. She says this is something that we need to do. We all need to really get important about e-commerce, logistics, and supply chain. So really glad to have you, Bing, and thank you again. Always a pleasure to see you. And here we go now for the question and answer session of Asia Logistics Forum 2021. Always the most engaging part of the event. And yeah, so let's see whether this is really the golden age of supply chain logistics as some think it is, or whether it's just all talk. So let's go. All right, we're really pleased to have everyone here. We've got a diverse leaders in the industry and outside. So maybe I could start with just a general question. What does everybody, I mean, we put up the theme, the golden age of supply chain logistics. Is this a bit over the top, or do you think this has some reality to it? What are you hearing? Maybe Susie, you're seem enthusiastic. What do you see?
Thank you, Richard. And I do not think that the topic for discussion today is over the top at all. I think we are really primed for a wonderful opportunity in the Philippines to grow and develop not only the economy, but the economy on the back of a strong logistics sector. Certainly there's going to be very large growth ahead of us, I do believe.
Okay, great. Richard, what do you think? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Susie. I think, Richard, we're definitely poised for that kind of growth. And I think maybe it's almost, you can almost say that's the golden era of e-commerce, in addition to the supply chain, right? So obviously, yeah, I mean, I think that the pandemic at a certain degree supercharged the situation, but definitely I think e-commerce and supply chain, be it warehousing, the RoRo, all that is really growing in exponential rate here in the Philippines.
Maybe Anne, what do you? I mean, I know you have a lot to do and are doing. What do you see?
Well, most definitely, it's the golden age of logistics with e-commerce and last mile deliveries. You'll be surprised in the countryside. They also buy a lot from Shopee and Lazada and all these door-to-door deliveries. But more than that, for us in the shipping, domestic shipping, it's the ripple effect in other industries like agriculture. I have a dream, Richard, of buying mangosteen. I don't know if you eat mangosteen,
Yes,
but
I do.
buying it for a cheaper price because the farmers in Mindanao shipped it via FastCat to reach Manila in 27 hours. And instead of buying it for like 325 per kilo, maybe there'll come a time it will be like 100 pesos per kilo, right? So I'm the guy who thinks about buying it because it's just so expensive. But maybe with this RoRo network and efficient, cheaper way of bringing it to Manila, we are affecting farmers too. Not to mention the fact that FastCat's also being used by the maritime transportation students in their education. They need this. They need to do ship familiarization and cadetship in order to finish their BS degree in marine transportation. And what does it do? We know that the Philippines is the manning capital of the world. So therefore, we have an impact in these seafarers to supply not only domestically, but globally.
Absolutely. And if something can be done there, because I know it costs to send a container from Davao to Manila more, and I think almost twice as much as it does to send it to Hong Kong or places like that. Bing, now you have a very diverse group of industries and companies with you. Now, are they getting on board? Is that what you hear, or are they going to hold back? What are you hearing from everybody?
Actually, PCCI, PFA, PRA, we got together with the Department of Trade and Industry for the e-commerce 2022. We're part of that. We really know we have to move faster because of the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. Everybody had to innovate, had to pivot their businesses, and definitely online business is really the answer. And because of this, all the FastCat is our answer to our prayers. Also LBC, and also, we all need them badly. I will agree that this is the golden age of the supply chain logistics more than anything. That's why we have to work harder together, because I mentioned in my report earlier, there were not enough vessels coming here to the Philippines because of the lockdown, and on our export was affected. But finally, just this month, we have a vessel that left that will go directly to the United States. So, it's really important. Otherwise, no business will move without them. And we have to do this and work together so that we can move things faster. So again, I will thank LBC and FastCat for being here and to have more businesses together. Partnership is very important.
Okay, Bing, right? She's great. Well, Bing, maybe if I could ask you one more thing, but there's still lots of work to do. What do you hear that companies need to get you know, the real high quality performers, you know, like Richard's group at LBC and Ann and so forth, what do they need to do better to be able to serve all of the companies that you represent at the Philippine Chamber? What are you hearing?
I just mentioned that the shipping here is more expensive in the Philippines than the other parts of Asia. So we must work together. We want to bring this down so that we will be competitive. We are 27% higher than our neighbors in Asia.
Okay.
So we at PCCI have been working with government together with the Export Development Council and DTI and the others that we hope to bring this down closer to our neighbors.
Yes,
so that's when I say there are really challenges that we have to still encounter.
Okay, that's a very good perspective on things. And maybe now, Richard, you've worked clear across the Asia region for a lot of different organizations. Taking from what Bing said, what would you say are some of the reasons behind that, comparing to other countries?
You mean the shipping or just in general?
Well, shipping costs and where are we? Are we doing pretty good, or do we still have a long way to go?
I think we've got a way to go, right? And I think I can even harken back to my time when I worked here, when I was with DHL, that as Bing had mentioned, right? I think the inter-island shipping was always a challenge, particularly from a rate perspective. So I think the government, you know, hopefully there could be more work in that space, right? I think, you know, I think just generally speaking, I think, you know, there's always the discussion also with maybe moving more out of the port of Manila to Batangas and Subic and other places to kind of declutter the roads in Manila, and of course the truck bans and those kind of things. But I think, you know, I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. And I think a lot of times, you know, forget the expression off the top of my head, but basically this pandemic kind of collapses a lot of things through, right? Where there might be discussions on certain rules or laws that might take a long time, but the urgency and the need to get product out to consumers and things, you know, via e-commerce and things, kind of moved everything in a certain way, right? So I think getting back to, we talk about supercharging and the golden era, I think that's definitely the key, right? So we're definitely moving in that direction. There's more work to do, of course, right? But I'm definitely bullish on the next 3 to 5 years here.
Okay, and now Susie, you also have a lot of experience clear across the Asia region, originally from Australia, but what do you see as some of the differences in Philippines, why it is a bit more expensive than in other, say, comparable countries?
Yeah, I would certainly say it's the infrastructure in the Philippines, which unfortunately limits the supply chain, that being both the ports and the piers and the road network, including the truck bans. If you've got transport per se that only works one shift and not sort of on a 24-hour basis, those inefficiencies go all the way back to the warehouse. Now, with the recent infrastructure developments in the road network, with the expansion of ports, with, say, FastCat as an example of nautical highway, the more options that are available in the industry here, the more freeing up. And it's even with these investments, it's not going to be, you know, the same as, say, other countries in Southeast Asia. But I do think the differences are going to be significant. And we are going to see in the Philippines, you know, this improvement over time where the costs come down because of this availability of different supply chains, which declogs the networks that were very much clogged before in the past.
Okay. And now, Anne, what you're doing is so exciting, because I know I have been years ago on some of the old generation of inter-island boats, and it was scary, it was unsafe, not comfortable, and all the rest of it. But what do you, I mean, maybe if you could tell us a bit more about all that you're doing.
Yeah, so we were saying that in the beginning, we don't get a lot of, you know, support from government and banks, the pre-modernization of, pre-new ships that we did. This was like in 2003. We did have a lot of support, and people per se, Filipinos for that matter, do not look at maritime the way maybe other countries give importance to it. So with this modernization, we want to get the message across that, hey, if there's no shipping, there's no shopping. So we gotta make our nautical highway corridors really strong, our maritime industry really strong. Let us connect the Philippines, make it one, because as what our speakers here, Susie and Richard and Bing have said, we need this. This is part of the supply chain, and it must get the right attention, support from everybody and all the stakeholders. We have tried to defy gravity, as you have mentioned, that the Philippines is belief that, oh, it's only domestic, and domestic ships can be this, it can be slow, it can be intrepid, and it's sad that we earned this poor safety record. And FastCat is trying to change that and giving the Filipinos what we rightfully deserve. And so we feel that we get to have the awareness up, get people like you, Susie and Richard and Bing, to come use our service, and people to travel using the Roro network and go see the Philippine Islands. Support this, because it's the only way to really show people that this can be done. And it can be done, in a way that will bring so much more positive effect to the country. So yes, thank you for creating that awareness via this forum. And yes, we hope to continue with our Vision 2030 of having more ships like FastCat, very safe, very fast, and very convenient for everybody.
Yes, okay. Well, yeah, so absolutely. Now, the government's grand infrastructure success, I would say. Now, I am very excited about that and impressed. Am I, is it going to have a really big impact, or is that also over the top? Because I don't think any other country in the world was able to continue such huge infrastructure developments all through the COVID. So it seems to me Philippines might be one of the few countries that's better off after the COVID than before. What do you guys think? Is this going to have an impact, or is this going to take another 10 years of development? Richard, you look like you're eager to talk. Oh, Bing, what do you think, Bing?
With the way we see it in business, they have completed the connection of the north and the south, and now they'll tell you, which used to take 45 minutes or an hour, now it will take you like 12 minutes when they finish many bridges and all that. I think that we are going somewhere. The build has helped our country. And of course, they were finished during the pandemic, no matter what. They worked on it. And I think that everything is going to get faster soon, because they're going to be completing many of this by the time the term of President Duterte is over. So the business sector is looking forward to all these connectivities that are going to be finished, that will be completed soon. And on the roadside, on the highways and all that, we're looking forward to more of those that will be completed. And definitely shortening distances and the traffic also will be a big help.
Yeah, okay, it's exciting. Richard, you want to, what do you think?
I tend to agree with Bing, and I think I just think of my past experience here to now, right? Inevitably, you compare the times. And I think the travel time is definitely, when you think about the road structure particularly, right? To me, it's very exciting, not just in the professional industry, but as to be able to drive to North Luzon on a much quicker time than in the past. So I think those are the kind of benefits that are good, right? I think back to days on a rainy Friday afternoon years ago, trying to get cargo from Laguna, from a Pesa zone up to the airport in time on the old 2-lane South Superhighway, right? So I think those things, definitely there's improvements there. I'm even looking further afield, again, from a logistics perspective on the new airport in Bulacan, right? To see, hopefully that'll come through to fruition as well. So I think those things, yeah, I think they've definitely helped.
Yes. Okay. And now, Susie, maybe if I could alter the question a bit for you, because I know you're focused more on the warehousing side, but I don't know, when I talk to real estate people, they always point out warehousing as one of the big growth sectors. Are you seeing, is this something that you are seeing how would you describe it? Is it just growing, measured growth, or is it explosive growth? What do you see?
I would say at the moment it's a little bit measured growth. There's just that little uncertainty about when things will open up. But it's important to note that growth continued to happen during the pandemic. The logistics industry was one that was extremely sustainable. People still need to eat and they still need goods delivered. So it was a very robust industry during the pandemic. I think we're certainly on the cusp of a even bigger growth. I really do believe that. So measured at the moment, but I certainly feel, and from the inquiries that we have from understanding the industry, there was no slowing down. Warehouse projects weren't put on hold. It was just perhaps new opportunities took a little bit longer coming through. I'm certain that, we will see that really shouldn't say catch up because it didn't fall behind, but I think that growth will accelerate again very shortly as well.
Okay. And Anne, what about the government's infrastructure projects for your ports that you use? Has it impacted you as much as it has for the roads, and we hear subways now, airports? What do you see?
Well, for us, we hope and we pray that we get that government support to really be successful in what we do. There's much to be desired and still much to be done. We cannot afford a fragmented government and regulator who does not talk and who does not have a master plan to make this happen. Can I just say, Richard, for example, in Europe, there are some countries that get subsidies from government, so they get free fuel or at least tax incentives so that they are able to run and make the ships, the moving sea bridges. Can I just tell you that in this COVID time, since day one of the COVID, we never stopped moving. When planes are grounded, when passenger ships were grounded, we never stopped since day one. So it just shows you the importance of this maritime link, of us carrying the cargo in the islands. And therefore, if everybody gets to see this and appreciate this, we must get more support, more patronage, and government to find out how to prioritize improving this. So it's not just the ports, it's also the local governments, of course, you logistics people, on how we can make this stronger connection to make Philippines.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, it sounds really good then. I mean, Bing, is there anything else you could add for us about what you're hearing from, again, such a diverse group of people you're interacting with regularly, but I remember within the franchise industry, the food industry, Potato Corner and all of these were reorienting their business to make it delivery oriented. Is that still going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
They said even in the new normal, we would still have hybrid that many are so used to, staying home, just buying takeout and all that. So it will be hybrid. They will still go to the restaurant, eat outdoor, but the others will do takeout. So
I see.
I also mentioned that there are now new up and coming concepts such as the Tutubi that is out of Bulacan, and they want to cater to tricycle drivers, and they're lowering their franchise fees. The use of the app would be only like 15,000 pesos, and a franchise fee, a minimal franchise fee of maybe 50,000, just to help the tricycle drivers. So they will be the ones like Grab Food and the Lala Move, but the local version. We also have the BECS, who also started in Bulacan, but now is ready to go nationwide. Yes, they have express, meaning same-day delivery. Then we have the text, which is also in demand. So there are so many logistic companies that are popping up because they know there is a need for it. So people are looking at it because definitely our economy for 2022 is going to be so much better. There will be a need for more of this. That's why we are gearing up for 2022 and 2023. The growth of the country we cannot recover right away yet. Maybe 2023 is the time, because we were doing so well. We were going to be the, before the pandemic, the Philippines was really going to be there. But now we went down 9.5 last year. This year, we hope to have a growth of 4 point something. But in 2022, we hope to get the 7.5 growth already. So just looking at this from the 9.6 to the 7.5, there's a bright future.
There is, certainly. Well, Bing, so food delivery, so that's a real growth area. Is there any other areas that you're hearing that are growing that maybe weren't before, like new concepts?
Yes, as I mentioned to you, the logistics is one of them. The others are also services, because many of them were not allowed during the pandemic. So if they are going to, they're really reopening soon, and I think they've started reopening like 30% and all, but people are really dying to, have their services, those in the health and wellness and all the necessities that we have. They're really going to, aside from the pharmacy and all, there will really be growth, because, there are many companies that are trying to come up with homegrown meaning organic products. And they said these organic products are really, it's good for them to develop it. And it's very good for health and anti-aging and all. So these are the fields that we feel are really going to grow also.
Absolutely, yeah. Anti-aging is something I need, and certainly the organic side is every survey shows this is what people want. So, okay, so there's lots of opportunities, and Richard, Ann, and Susie find themselves right in the thick of things, where there's going to be tremendous opportunities for the three of you in the next 10 years. Boy, you're going to be working long after you're retired. So good story. So thank you everyone for being a part of this event. Really, really nice to have you, Bing, Ann, Richard, Susie, and please keep up the great work you're doing. So thank you to our speakers for that so engaging Q&A session. And that was Asia Logistics Forum 2021, the golden age of supply chain logistics. So be real about your business and your life. Everything has changed, and from this point forward, we've got a real growth opportunity for all of us. So thank you again. That was Asia Logistics Forum 2021.
Asia, see.